Hi everybody, it's Josh with Camp and Cross here. I'm here to do the detail video for the Deuter 65+10 AirContact. I'm just going to go over some features of this backpack in this video today, and hopefully give you some ideas of what you like or what you don't like in it, so you can figure out if it's best for you. I bought this backpack because I was having some issues with my shoulder, and I was looking for a pack that was extremely comfortable. And just to start off, I'll show you this. This is probably the most padded backpack that I could find. It's got really good, firm, padded shoulders. The hip belt is extremely wide. You've got a lot of padding down here and in the back as well. They try to vent it as much as they can, but that's probably one downside of this backpack, is you don't get a lot of ventilation. But they do have this feature here in the waist belt, so it also, I know it's kind of hard to show you, but it moves as you step. So so the pack stays centered on your back while you're moving, and so it's supposed to help it stay balanced a little bit better. But in general, this pack is extremely comfortable. It's a 65-liter backpack with an additional 10 expansion, so it's got like a collar that expands up. I'll show you that in a second. So it's really just a great backpack if you need to carry a ton of weight. When I first started, I was carrying probably 40 pounds. Didn't have a problem at all with this backpack. But over time, I've minimized the amount that I'm carrying, and that's why I went down to the Osprey Exos 58. So I'll show you a couple things that the Deuter has. Number one, it's got a huge top lid. The top lid has a pocket in the back. I have stuff stuffed in here. But it's got a pocket in the back that has a strap for putting your keychain on it. Tons of room in here. I had this whole pillow in the top pocket. Zip that up, and you've got two latches here that you release, and this flips open, and it's got a second pocket on the bottom with some information about how to like signal planes if you're lost in the wilderness and that sort of stuff. It's kind of cool. They give you like a cheat sheet for that sort of stuff. I've never seen that included with the backpack before, but I'm still, you know, learning this stuff as well. So I guess we'll go inside the pack. There isn't really much else. We'll get that over with. Inside here, this is the collar I was talking about. So if you're carrying, you know, above here, you can actually expand up here, and it's got a separate draw cord for the top, so you can actually store more. And if you do get this high, you'll notice the lid probably would have trouble getting over the top of it. It can actually be raised up. So if you got it all the way up here, the lid can actually raise up. They call it a floating lid style, and so that's how that works. Inside, I've got my old sleeping bag. You get that out of here. Basically inside here, you've got the main compartment. There is a larger pocket down here. Too dark. There's a larger pocket down at the bottom, like halfway down the pack in the back. When I first saw it, I thought it was for putting your bladder for your camelback or your, you know, wherever you keep water in. I thought that's what that was for. After learning more about this stuff, I realized that that's actually where you would put most of your heaviest gear, because you want it close to your back. So it kind of is a good way of organizing your heaviest gear. So And that's another thing that this pack has done really well, is keeping things divided so that way you can pack your pack correctly without having it shift around. There's also a divider here that separates the top portion of the backpack from the bottom portion of the backpack. And that is actually something that you can unzip to make it all just one piece if you want, or leave it zipped up and you can keep stuff separated. You've got two pockets on either side of the backpack. These, they call them side billow pockets. This is actually where they intend you to put the water bladder. So this is where you would stuff your Camelback or whatever you've got. You'd fish the tube up through this hole here, and then they've got things on either sides that allow you to kind of put the tube through, so that way it's not going to flop around and that sort of stuff. And these pockets are pretty big. They go, you know, from here all the way down to there, and they're kind of pleated, so that way they can poof out a little bit more. And then these are the straps that you use for compression. If you're carrying less than what the backpack is made to handle, you can cinch these things down to shrink up the pack size a little bit, so you're not carrying a bunch of loose material and stuff's shifting all over the place inside. So you've got the same exact kind of pocket on the other side with the same hydration pocket here to get your tube out, and then just like the other side, you've got a bottle holder as well. Another feature that you've got on the front of the pack is this pocket here. This is advertised as being a waterproof pocket. So they say, like, put your map in here, whatever, things that you don't want to get wet. Or you could put things in here that are wet and you don't want all the rest of your stuff to get wet. So, and it's got a waterproof welded zipper on this as well, so it's just as good at keeping the water out as it is keeping the water in, whichever way you choose to use it. And then at the bottom here, we've got our bottom pocket. These two straps here that go over it can be used to latch on to your sleeping pad or your sleeping mat, whatever you like to call it. So you can kind of wrap this around it and sit it down. And then once you get inside here, these zippers are heavy duty too. I was really impressed when I first saw these. They're not exactly easy to get used to, but once you get the hang of it, you can really get the stuff out of there when you need it. So you've got this bottom compartment. This is pretty large. This is normally where I keep my my sleeping bag, and where I used to keep any additional sleeping things like a pillow or whatever like that. I just stuff it all down here to keep it in one spot, so when I got to camp I could set up camp pretty easily just by pulling everything out of here. And then these two zippers here are what allow you to open up the separator or the divider to get into the bottom of the top pack here, or obviously just to leave it open so that way it's just all one piece. I don't know why you'd want to do that. I honestly have always left the divider up because it makes it easier to organize things. So I think the only other thing that I haven't showed you is, well, no, there's two other things. This backpack has a couple of luxuries. One of them being the extremely thick and comfortable hip belt and suspension in general. The other thing is, if you're ever caught in a very big rainstorm or anything like that, you can whip out, the pack's got its own rain cover that zips right into the bottom of the pack, So when you're done using it, you can just roll it up and stuff it back there. But it just comes out and pulls up over the pack. It's got one lead that locks into the bottom, so it doesn't take much to just pull it up and over. And then it gives you kind of like good rain protection. I've actually used this many times in the rain. It does work. And I don't know, there's not much to it besides being really blue. So you get that, and the only other thing that this pack has that I haven't told you about is on the hip belt there is one side pocket for you to put stuff. It's not on both sides, like a lot of other packs do on both sides, but I made do with just having one. It wasn't too big of a deal. So that pretty much covers the Deuter AirContact 65+10.